What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another oil painting video. So today the canvas is already prepared for us to get right into the painting. It's just a grayish blue oil color. So as you can see, the paint is wet, and we're going to use the Alla Prima approach to create another springtime looking painting. So welcome Celeste, Grace, Gigi. Welcome everybody. Welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and get right to the drawing. So I'm going to use just kind of a dark blue, and we're going to have a model in this composition. So let's say the head might fit somewhere about there. I will follow this. This is the spine. So we're going to start off kind of with a stick figure, and maybe that's going to be the midway point. And we're going to have a knee that's kind of leaning this way, and then the back leg for support over here. So we're starting off with kind of a stick figure, really. Shoulders are going to be somewhere over there. Arm is going to be bent in this way. So the model will be picking up flowers. So we start off with a stick figure. Yesterday we started the face off with kind of a smiley face. Okay, so we'll lean the head a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. So I like doing weird little starts like this where you wouldn't even believe where we're going to go with the painting. And it's just kind of fun to start that way. So the model's going to be wearing a dress. So the edge of the dress is going to be somewhere back there. Bottom of the dress is there, and there's going to be some flowers over here. Model's arm is going to be a little bit larger, kind of leaning over here. So again, this is more or less just a suggestion for where the model's going to fit. Now the top plane of the surrounding environment is going to be back there. There's going to be some trees in the background over there. And pretty much got the composition somewhat already figured out. There's going to be a plane change here. There's going to be a plane back here. And the sky is going to be up there. So that's about good for, I guess, kind of plotting where things are going to fit. I think I'll make the model a little bit bigger. So the torso will be probably, I don't know, about here. The head will be about here with our little robot drawing. Arm is going to be here. Now the anchor points of the composition are probably a hand, once again, maybe this hand, as the model is picking something up. And the knee is going to be over there. The other hand is going to be here. So those will be our little anchor points for this composition. So now let's go ahead and start to block in some values for the background. And we're going to go in with a dark bluish tone for this shape right here. It's going to be some distant trees in the background. Something like that. I don't want the value to get too dark right away, so that's good. Over there. Now above it, we'll use this same brush that we toned the canvas with earlier. And just add white paint. And with the blue that we already have on the canvas, it's going to mix to create a nice grayish blue sky. Now, as today is Friday, happy Friday, everybody. Doesn't seem that long ago we were saying happy Monday. But anyway, today's stream is going to be a little bit shorter, so we'll still do the 3 hours, but it's going to be kind of short. Maybe we won't, actually, I don't know, but somewhat close to 3 hours. I have a student, one-on-one student today. So let's go ahead and now bring this down. And the model's head is going to fit, this is a good guesstimation, somewhere about there. dark hair. Long hair, don't care. Right back here. And more of the long hair back here. The model's head will be somewhere over there. Hey, Gigi said you did a 4x6 landscape. Oh, cool. Celeste, you started a self-portrait using safflower, spiked lavender. Yeah, I know. I don't like looking at the mirror myself either. Yeah, I understand, but good job starting the self-portrait. Okay, so now we're going to have some Indian yellow and cadmium yellow medium. It's going to be kind of weird to pronounce this one. Cadmium free yellow medium. It is a Winsor Newton substitute for cadmium yellow, which is nothing like cadmium yellow, unfortunately. But I'm going to use it because I bought it, so I'm going to use it up. Now these are going to be some distant planes. A little bit more blue. There's going to be more of a landscape with this one today, as the model is going to be picking up some flowers. Springtime setup. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add a kind of reddish, which will go brown because of the tone that we have. Just a little touch for where some other colors are going to exist. But not too much, because we're going to add a bush with some flowers all over here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this brush that we used up here. We're going to use white and lemon yellow. Put some light in the environment. Lemon yellow, cadmium free yellow medium on this side. And we're gonna put some dark black, sap green, phthalo blue. These are bristle brushes, size 4 bristle brushes. Links in the description box for you. Okay, distant planes back here. I guess not so distant, but further back. Okay, giving us our value range. We're going to add some light yellow tones for some flower shapes. And we're going to add the reddish colors. Springtime looking setup. Again, the model is more or less kind of a suggestion, but we'll add a suggestion of light for where the dress is going to fit somewhere about there. I don't know. Somewhere about there. And then maybe a little bit of an orangey color for that arm that's going to be in sunlight as the model is extending her hand to pick up a flower. Let's put in a little red tone here for where the hand will fit. Remember, hands start out as a mitten, they turn into a claw, and then eventually look like a hand. Maybe a little bit of light for top plane of the head, just to have some light planes here, here, and here, giving us an idea of the composition. Don't have to be that specific just yet. we see patterns and random marks. Oh, you see a face on the bottom right? Interesting. Light over here. Which will give us the springtime looking light effect. Some lemon yellow. Again over here, which is going to mix with the initial blue, and it's going to brown out with the red that we added. The all-important hand. It's going to be somewhere over there. And we can add some more phthalo blue, which is kind of similar to like a Prussian blue. Back here. Okay, so add a little more of that lemon yellow with the big brush here. Cadmium green behind here. And you see how important the background is. So there's our cadmium green. Now we can add just white. And this is going to give us a little plane change right before where we'll eventually have the head fit in. And now we'll put in some little planes for the trees. Oh yeah, gesture. I didn't make it to that gesture drawing session yesterday that I was talking about, that I wanted to go to, but I looked at the traffic and yeah, I was gonna go. It was less than 10 miles away from me, but I was gonna spend 30 minutes or so in traffic. That's Northern Virginia for you. Okay, so there's that. Punch the light right behind here because we can. This just has a relation to that plane. And dirty the brush up. Go in with more light for the trees, and you see the light effect now start to become a thing as we manipulate the edges with the brush. Now that we have all these distant planes back there. Okay, so utilizing the fullness of the wet on wet approach, we can now key the lights for the background. Now the reddish pinks will be there, scattered around our little springtime setup. Not too long though before we go in with more cadmium green, as there is going to be a plane change there. I would bring out a different brush for this plane change. And this goes way off up there. Now we're gonna add a shadow tone right over here. Now the plane will move all the way across there. So this is the little pathway that the model is walking through. Okie dokie. Now we're gonna add a hint of a reddish brown. Will I go thicker as I go? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not thinking too much about the thickness of the paint. More about just the drawing, to be honest. So there's an elbow over here, totally just going by shapes. This is the stage where I always say, keep things simple and easy, such that when the time comes to make changes, and it always does, Those changes are simple and easy to manage. Now we're going to go in with that same color, start to block in a little shape for where the head is going to fit eventually. Eventually the head will fit there. The model is wearing a dress, so there's going to be a bottom part for the dress. Though we're going to stop right there because we can't show more of the chest because YouTube. And that's enough for the suggestions of that. Now we're going to go ahead, put in that motion for the arm. Okay, good. Now we want to push the light even more. So there's going to be some lighter flowers over here. Scatter it around the pink because the light is going to be important for this one. There's going to be a flower over there that she's going to be picking. Now we've got more of the light effect starting to become a thing. Light down here. You cannot have light without shadow. Vice versa. Lighter over here. Go back to the cadmium green. Stopping to smell the roses. Yep, that's a possibility. Cadmium green. Right over there. There will potentially be a shadow. Cast shadow for the bottom of the model so she's not completely floating in space. Now let's go ahead, key the light even further. Palette knife, titanium white. Hold on for dear life. Mix, and there. We've got light. Okay, alright, so now we can continue to punch up some of these flowers and then we'll work our way up towards the dress. But before too long, not before too long, we will add our little signature smiley face before we start the face, because why not? Now we'll go ahead, punch the light over here, giving us nice and rich little plain changes for the flowers. Cadmium green on this brush. Nice and easy. Let the paint do the work for you. Cadmium green. Distant, or not distant, the opposite of distant. Plain right up here. A little bit more light with the cadmium green over here. Just a little miniature plane. Miniature plane right here. Another plane over here. Go back to the white. Use the back end of the brush. Add some little touches of red back there. Back end of the brush because we're too lazy to get another brush out. You'd wear the outfit as it looks now. That's funny. That's a good one. Punch the light up here. Okay, as we have our bushes with flowers start to emerge. Punch the light up yet again with the cadmium green right there. Appreciate all the likes, everybody. More cadmium green over here with phthalo blue. Punch that shape a little more. Back to the bushes. Again, we want all of these values in the background because you cannot have light without dark, dark without light. For there to be a dark side, there has to be a not dark side. There needs to be a rebellion of the dark side. Okay, a little bit more red. Now this creates our little shape for the flowers. Now you see the light effects start to become kind of a thing as we paint wet on wet. Let the paint do a lot of the work for us. Okay, alrighty. Now we can add a little bit of light with the same brush, a little bit of light for the back side of the model, maybe the neck, perhaps there'll be some light over there, maybe not, who knows. Right behind the smiley face, because smiley face, I paint the smiley face there for you all to know. Don't take it so seriously, just relax, enjoy the process, just have fun. Life's too short to not have fun. Okay, so now back side, and this was our little stick figure, so let's see how accurate our stick figure was, and let's just trust this to be the back end of the model, and that's going to be the leg that's leaning forward. This is going to be the leg further back. Okay, like that. And since this is wet paint, we can do so much with the shapes. But before that, we missed a spot for the flowers. How could we miss a spot? So again, with the light, right underneath of the model's chest, right underneath of the arms too. And we let the paint do the work for us. The model is crouching, so again, in perspective, whatever you call it, the model's doing a little bit of blue. And I think I forgot to post, I forgot to post yesterday's painting on Instagram. Today was my side job, dog walking. And I went to the grocery store, got some tilapia, fried it up, air fried some potatoes, and in the midst of all that, I just kind of forgot to post to Instagram. But don't worry, I will remember. Okay, so now we're going to do something with this. A little bit of phthalo. Punch the blue, and this will give us the bottom side of the dress. Shadow shape for the dress. More phthalo right over here. Let it mix with everything that we have already going on. No need for any details here except for our little smiley face. Okay. Back side of the model. Again, I think we did well with that in our first little guess with the stick figure. More blue over here. GG, a little better, yeah. My feet are recovering a little better each day. Thanks for asking, by the way. Okay. So now we can start to put in some interior shapes, and we'll work our way up towards the face. Eventually, the proportion of the head is okay, but it's obviously a little bit tall, so that's pretty easy to move. And of course, I said it was my dog walking day, and I forgot to text that I walked the dog. I'm kind of forgetful today. It's Friday. It's Friday. Alright, so a little bit of light over here. Back side over there. Okay, so that's going to be for the hair. Highlight on the top plane of the hair. A little bit of a reddish brown because I don't know why. I just felt like putting that in there. Now the arm is okay. I don't think it's that far off. Now we're going to add some reflected orangey light, develop the form, and push the drawing all at the same time. Some little reflection there. Hey Curtis, thanks for that comment. Thanks for watching from Joyce, New Broxton. Hey Celeste. Might be getting faster. I don't know. Who knows? In the sunlight, there'd be more of a light, reddish light back here. Same thing will exist over here. Contrast that with light on the shoulder. I mean the elbow. That gives us the positioning for the elbow. Shoulders lifted up to about there. Okie dokie. So this arm, we're gonna change the position of this arm, paint this out now, and we'll have her leaning over there. So it is wet paint, so it allows us to do everything we want. So a little bit of light under here. This is going to give us the position for the chest. And more of the blue will give us this light over here. Now we go back to the other brush, a little bit of red, and we'll redraw this hand. Now that we have this dark, we can start to push some dark accents like that. Like I always say, keep your shape simple and easy, such that yada yada yada, you already know. Well, I would hope that I'm copywriting the paintings by putting my name on it. Since I will be selling prints, I hope nobody tries to sell them as prints. In the beginning, yes, I was putting my name in text. Okay, so she's leaning on. What is she doing? I don't know. Let's just have her arm kind of floating up there, but I needed it to be there. Yeah. Okay, so the hand starts off as a mitten, then a claw, then eventually a hand. The way that I'm trying to copyright it is with some of the paintings, I'm putting my name in text, in big text. But to be honest, I have such a small following on Instagram. I can't fathom somebody would try to steal from me, but you never know. You never know. Now that we have this dark, let's throw a little best guesstimation for where the neck is going to fit. This is going to give us a nice sharp edge over here. Right over here. That's going to give us the neck, the shoulder, all the way down to about there. Okay, dokie. Now go back to the trees. Hey, Mark L. Holding a basket, perhaps, but I don't know. I want this to be the focal point, so I know, or at least the point of action right here. So if I put a basket there, I think it's going to eat away at the composition a little bit. We'll decide though later. Back side of the neck. As we adjust the drawing. Okay, there should be some light on the neck. So there's the light for the back of the neck. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I did forget to post it to Instagram today. Wednesdays and Fridays are so, like, action-packed for me. I walk my mother-in-law's dog. And then, of course, grocery store. And I was painting in the morning. So, there's the neck. The neck is going to land over there. Now, I know you like the smiley face, but the smiley face is now going to turn into somewhat of a face. Side plane of the face there. Going back to the dark. I'll upload it if I can remember. I'll upload it during the break. Yeah, my Instagram is just like, it has such a small following now that I don't even have to really type much on it, on the posts. Okay, there's the ear. And the eye socket shape is going to be over here as she's looking down. Nose may or may not land over there. Yeah, I guess it could look like a Pissarro. It started off very simple and blocky. The face will eventually fit over there. Darkish red for where the ear is going to be. Going back to the arm. A little bit of the cadmium-free yellow medium. That is a mouthful. Elbow is going to be right about there, so our drawing is accurate enough. Yeah, I took Hugo. He goes with me everywhere. I mean, I don't bring him in the grocery store, but he stays in the car. Obviously, when the weather is nice, which it has been, minus the rain. Okay, so there's the little plane change for the elbow. Now light for the hands, but before that, cadmium free, yellow, medium, Winsor Newton. That is a mouthful. With a little bit of cadmium red, light. And you can see how we're pushing this light. Pushing the effect of sunlight. This, again, turning into a mitten, eventually a claw. There will be some reflection, some warm reflection behind here. As it is a sunlight painting. And we always want to push the light, so as we move from one side to the other, we refine everything. No, the mother-in-law's dog is a border collie. And Hugo is a Shiba Inu. Though it'd be kind of neat to walk around with two Shiba Inus. Distant field, getting a little bit lighter now. Which will help bring more light to the model. And at the same time help us correct that drawing. interesting planes for these trees. So we're at this stage now, I think, where we've done quite a lot in terms of composition. So we're building our way to the subtlety. And a lot of the subtlety is going to be mainly on the face. Though, maybe not. Maybe we'll put more emphasis on something else. I don't know. Let's say that there's some sunlight peeking through over here, which will change the hue. Something like that. And the drapery starts to kind of do its thing and look a little more dimensional. Something like that. Now drapery has some more dimension to it. Let it meet right up with the flowers. Okie dokie. Pushing this light and the form a little bit more now. This is going to move up here. Again, the power of the wet on wet approach. We'll throw in a hint of a cast shadow. Bottom of the hand. Just a kind of a glimpse of that shadow. Our arm is not completely resting on the dress. Now pushing more form on the dress. Again, there's the model's backside. Detail for the dress. Little detail for the dress. Back side of the hair gives us the angle for the neck. Maybe possibly we want a little window of light. We may take that out. We may leave it there. Who knows? But perhaps there's a window of light there. Throw in a dark, the accent of the thumb. A little accent for the thumb there. Hayden color. And cadmium green. I also have sap green, but for this level of color, sap green is not that useful for this kind of stuff. Again, starts off as a mitten. So right now it's still a mitten. And then it'll turn into a claw. The claw. Okay, a little bit more yellow. Cadmium orange. Now you see how important that initial blue-gray tone was to this start. extremely important to get this light effect and to block in the background. Okay, so now the back of the head. The hair is gonna meet kind of right there. Eye, should I say eye socket? Eye socket's gonna be over there for one eye. You're gonna get a glimpse of the other eye over there. Corner of the head. There should be now a little bit of light on the corner of the hair. Something like that. Hey, Lady Death. Welcome, welcome. Now some light for the hair. As the model is in sunlight. We want to paint so much light that it's going to look like she could get sunburned. Okie dokie. So now the back side of the head, I'm going to change it to kind of a blue. I don't know. It's kind of a gray with white and lemon yellow. I'm glad you prefer this face to the smiley. I don't know, it's just kind of fun to mess around with that. Okay, light, light, and more light. Again, the shoulder arc there for the shoulder. She's kind of leaning over. Perhaps more light over here. And we'll contrast that with some phthalo blue over here, giving some detail to the dress. Dark red for the ear, as it is in sunlight. Okay, now we'll round out this initial drawing line, and this will give us the position for the head. But before we add too much for the head, we want to make sure that the placement is acceptable. If the placement is acceptable, then we'll add more to that. Now obviously, as I add more shapes here, I will continue to add stuff to the background. Which helps push the light. Okay. Now there's going to be some reflection on the face right here. Oh, thank you, Celeste, for the super chat. Thank you so much. It really helps out with the stream. Really helps out with the channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. A little bit of reflected light over here. You know, I think this is the first, is it the first? It might be the first painting where the model is really small relative to the environment. Kind of like the same proportion of the cows that we painted. I don't even. When did we paint the cows? Was it on Tuesday? I don't even remember. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Of course it was Tuesday. Okay, so the placement of everything seems to be working out just fine. Of course, emphasis on the landscape, of course. Let's add some more little red elements here. Most of the time was spent with the environment. Thanks, Celeste. I hear you. Okie dokie. So I guess that's decent enough. That's acceptable. Now we can start to add some shapes to the face. I mean, some actual shapes. But maybe. Let's see. I'm thinking of how much I want the arm to reach. And I don't know. Because I wanted it to be here. This is kind of an important part of the composition. I will repaint the entire figure if I have to, but this is my placement for this hand. Nothing can move. Let me think here. Let's say we bring the forearm, say the elbow, to about here. And if I have to repaint the figure, I will. Or at least move the figure slightly. Okay, so that will be our light shape. For the arm, there'll be a bicep over here. Now we'll have to straighten out the arm a little bit to about there. So we're straightening the arm a little bit, and we can push a tiny bit back and still maintain the focal point there. So this will move the thumb. See, I don't want to move it too much. I'll move it a little bit. To about there. so that moves the thumb slightly. Again, keep it mitten-like because moving it a little bit to one side or the other is not that difficult if it's a mitten. Now light on the hand. This arm I think is fine. It's this one. And that's how simple it can be to move a shape. Now I straightened out the arm slightly. Okay. So that kind of works. Kind of. Now we're going to have to push the flowers to the left slightly because that is part of the big picture. Okay, so we've moved it a little bit to the left. Now we can add that light under the arm to help straighten out the elbow slightly. Hand might even be too big, but who knows? Mitten shape first. Mitten shape first. Okie dokie. Now we'll zoom in. Okay. Alright, so we've got about 5 minutes till we get to the break. So what do we do from here? I will... What will I do? I'll just get the face ready for some subtleties. By subtleties, I mean smaller planes. Should be a little bit more for the neck. Again, this is why figure drawing is really important. Is that even if the arm is incorrect. At least we have the tools to fix anything we do with paint. Okay, now we'll kind of guess where the eyes are gonna fit. Those are little guesstimations. Place markers for the face. Okay, oiling owl design. Oiling dog design. Oiling dog design. Okay. Chin. We'll blur out the mouth for now. Now we'll zoom back out. Make sure the head doesn't get too big. Make sure the arms are not too long. So I don't think the head is too big. Eyes are kind of decently placed. Top of the head is questionable. A little questionable. Okay. So that's about good enough. So we fixed the arm, the length of the arm somewhat. Put down some shapes for where the face is eventually gonna fit. And I think that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. So I'll play one of the earlier breakdown videos talking about perspective and values, because that's a little bit more important here. Though paint handling was a big deal, of course, to put all these shapes in, so kind of a lot to throw in an hour's time. But anyway, hopefully you'll enjoy that video, and we will continue shortly. Perspective means things that are closer to you are going to be bigger. If this is a box that's close to you, it's going to be bigger. But if the same box is further away, it's going to look smaller. And add to that, if that box is even further away, well, now it's going to look tiny. And in perspective, say they're on a railroad, like this is your little railroad, and you have a train that is driving on this railroad. Suppose the train is just a box. These lines, railroad lines, let's call them, will converge to what is known as a vanishing point. So not drawn to scale there, but you see these things will converge. So how will this translate to a portrait? Well, it's really simple. If you look at a face, this is the center line of a face. This is the axis for the eyes. This is the axis for the nose. This is the axis for the mouth. These are parallel lines. They're railroads. So every time your head turns, for example, then this is going to turn like that. Things are going to turn. Now, obviously, not drawn to scale. So as the perspective changes, if your head is tipped up, see how small this section is and how big this one is. So your center line would look something like that, with your ears all the way back here, and you would see the bottom of your nose over there. So that would be your little cartoon character if your forehead looks further away. And this is something called foreshortening, when things look smaller in perspective. That happens with things like arms, like the forearm would look small in perspective. It's going to be foreshortened here, whereas it won't be foreshortened here. So that's how perspective is going to affect things. Now, the next thing is to think about proportion, and we talked about that in another video, but proportion is a judgment between distances. Say this is A and this is B. Obviously, you know that A is bigger than B, but you know that A is not 3 times bigger than B, A is not 5 times bigger than B, and A is not necessarily half, but it's kind of close to half. B is kind of a little more than half of A. But now if we throw something in a third point, which would be C, now C is potentially 2 times the length of B. It doesn't have to be all that mathematical, but again, when you look at something like a face, for example, there's the forehead, there's the nose, and then there's the mouth somewhere over here, and then this curves in, and then there's the chin, right? The wing of the nose would be here, and then maybe there's an eye over here, and then the eyebrows over here. Now you have relative distances to one another. So this distance from the eye to the nose would be A, the distance from the nose to the mouth would be B, and then maybe the distance from the eyes to the chin would be C, and then you would relate these distances to one another. So that's proportion. The next one is going to be, we're going to talk about value. Value is really simple, basically how light or how dark something is. So for example, if we look at this little value scale, you see the light here, and then the dark. It starts to get dark, and then you have some middle values. How light or how dark something is. What matters the most is your distinction right here between light and shadow. Things that are closer to the light, meaning facing the light more, will be brighter. Things that are further away will be darker. But the most important thing is to have the distinction between light and shadow. Of course, my hair is not cooperating right now. But when it comes to other parts of values, you can actually look at it really simple in terms of bands of value. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different values. You don't even have to look at the numbers based on this, but you could easily say this is 1 and this is 5, and everything in between, well, you already know, 2, 3, and 4. That's value, but value is then attributed to something that we're going to look at, which is the final thing of the 4 basic things we're going to look at, and this is going to be form of a sphere. Pretend that I can draw a circle, which obviously I cannot, but many of you have seen this before, and this is going to be a pretty simple recap for you. So the light travels and hits a plane that is the most perpendicular to the light source. So this is perpendicular. It is at a 90-degree angle relative to this point here. This is going to be your highlight region of this little demo sphere. And anything that is parallel to this light plane, will enter into the shadow. So everything here that is beyond being parallel to the light is going to be in the shadow. This is light, this is shadow. So values that transition away from this point will start to get darker as they approach the shadow. And so this is what's going to make things look round, and you're going to have to visualize almost like a strip of bacon where each plane is. Now suppose there's a cast shadow here under the strip of bacon, and you're going to say maybe the light's coming from the same direction. So this is the brightest area on this little strip of bacon, and then it starts to get darker out here. So that is going to be how light is going to travel around that. Alrighty, hopefully you enjoyed that video. So I'm just gonna take a second to kind of figure out my game plan with the rest of this painting. Like I said, I have a student soon in about a little over an hour, so we still got time. So I'm just gonna take a second to think. Okay, alright, so this took a little while to think, and we're gonna push the light behind here because I still feel like it's not bright enough. I could also just open the door and bring more light. Of course, now you see that this is a little asymmetrical, but maybe that works. Maybe the solution is just to open a door. And I posted the Instagram painting from yesterday. I didn't know what to title it, so I didn't title it anything. You can see this madness that's going on the palette. This madness. Okay. Alright, so a little more light for that. Now we will start to develop the face a little bit. It's kind of still a tiny face though, but at least the drawing is accurate enough. Yeah, kind of a tiny face. We'll switch to, gonna have to switch to the sable brushes. So we get the sable brushes and some cheap watercolor brushes out of our little container. And this is the cheap watercolor brush. Okie dokie. So let's add some structure here. So like I said, I'm using both reference and imagination for this. So I don't know. I may just not paint much for the face. I don't like the light on the model's face in the reference. I don't like it, so I'm gonna have to make it up. And maybe I won't make up too much. In the reference there is light here. Again, that's just a cheap watercolor brush. So there's light on the edge of the face. Right on the edge there. Interior shapes for the nose. Okay, just a little hint of light. I keep getting a million text messages. Busy day today, everybody. Right here, this is number 1 painting. Might experiment with some different times, because these streams are not doing too well even still. So I don't know. We'll have some odd streams, different times now and then. Not gonna cancel or change what we have going on currently though. Alright, at this point I'm about to throw my phone out. I'll turn it off. Okay. Again, really appreciate all the likes, everybody. Sorry I'm not talking as much right now. I'm kind of focused on how I'm gonna make the face up. I've turned the head and everything differently from the reference. Relying on what we were talking about in that video during the break time perspective. Okay, so that reflected color from the sky is gonna be a thing now. Have a good weekend, Celeste. Thanks, Celeste. Just goes to show you, a cheap, this was probably about $1, if not less than that. And it does just fine. Probably some light on the chin. And let's put some Rembrandt lighting here. Now the ear should be right in between the nose line and the eyes. It also depends on the perspective. That blue reflection from the sky on the clavicle, somewhat. Warm reflections under the neck. Hey, Jonas. Pushing the light on the neck. back to the environment. Again, this is dual lighting, so there's going to be some light on the back side of the nose here, that bluish. Clavicle. But yeah, a lot of stuff, most of the stuff was done in the first hour. More planes for the hair. Just get rid of this line. Now the dress could be a little lighter. Now, if someone were to ask me what colors I'm using for the skin tone, I'd have to say no clue, because I'm going through so many different adjustments, I guess. This is all mostly by feel. Now I'm guessing there'd be more reflection, blue reflection here. Now we're going to transform the hands into claws. From mitten to claws to hands. Sometimes we never even get out of the claw stage. Alright, entering into claw stage. Claw formation. So there we have the thumb starting to emerge, the hands somewhat stated. I mean, the fingers somewhat stated. There's the thumb. Alright, let's zoom out now that we have some stuff for the face, both the hands. Alright, so now we're getting somewhere with this. Where? I don't know. But we're getting somewhere. Well, once again, the big picture is the most important thing here. So, looking at this from a distance is vital. Essentially, just looking at the thumbnail. More information for the dress. Alright, so now we'll just push the light yet again. I've got to blur my eyes to look at this. Blur your eyes to help you see color. It'll help to eliminate unnecessary details. Okay, now of course she's going to be holding some flowers. We wouldn't have had her reaching out like that for nothing. So let's zoom you back into that. A light and shadow for these flowers. Okay, so we got some shapes in there for whatever flowers that she picked out. Now the next obvious thing, it is kind of empty. The composition is kind of empty. I don't know, just having these lines going here, this going this way, down that way, this goes off to nothing, even though she's pointing at the flowers. So I look at these parts of the composition, so obviously she'd have some kind of headband of some sort. We kind of already made some room for it back there, or I mean over here. Again, push this dark first. Which will help with the light. Okay, so now we can put some flowers in her hair. first we'll paint the band that's going to be on her head. And we'll put in some careful light and shadow. My imaginary muse again. That is true. Yeah, a lot has changed. A lot has changed. So now we'll put in the leaves for this flower band. Yep, I took a break already. Yep, we took a break already. Though I won't be taking another one because, like I said, Friday is kind of a short day. So I have a student at 4. Yeah, in half an hour. Yep. Yep, this one was painted with the quickness. Challenging painting for sure. Very challenging. Fun little flower band on her head. More light on her head. So many little flowers in that flower band. So that was fun. It's kind of like floating colors around her head. Why not? So now we'll push the light yet again. Pretty much pushing the values to their limits in the environment. Okay. So now for the sky. Add a little more blue to it. whole lot of paint on this canvas. Okay, so we have pushed a lot of light. Let's go and put that usual glow that we add. Try not to overdo it. Thanks, Jonas. Glad you liked the painting. I was supposed to title this 2-hour painting, not 3-hour. As like I said, I got a student at 4. I gotta make sure I'm ready for that. Alrighty, so we have pushed that. Let's get rid of any unwanted outline looking things. Just blur them out. Oh, Gigi, thanks for sending a Venmo. Let me check for a second. I had moved my phone. Oh yeah, I did get it. Thank you so much. Thanks for the Venmo, Gigi. Really appreciate it. I did receive it. Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate that, Gigi. Really helps keep these streams going. Pushing the atmospheric effect with the light blue. This helps to create more atmosphere. Whew, quite a challenging one today, everybody. challenging, especially given the time constraints. Safe to say I chose the incorrect painting for today. Completely forgot that I would have to do a zoom. Oh, thanks, Maitha. Thank you. We're doing okay. We're doing alright. Oh, thank you, Maitha. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad this is your favorite. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I totally forgot, everybody, that I have a 4 o'clock Zoom. I would have chose a different painting, probably just the landscape without the person in it, or the person without the landscape, but quite a challenge. But I appreciate it. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. Thanks, Howling Dog Design. Oh no, I gotta finish this one today. I've gotta finish it today. This is the look that I wanted with it anyway. This is the aesthetic. This is the aesthetic. I don't think I would have been able to paint this fast had I not been utilizing the alla prima technique. So I definitely utilize that for sure. Oh, I have the same name as your cousin, really? Oh, wow. I never met somebody else with my name. Which is kind of scary, because I always liked that my name was so strange. Like, not common. Alrighty. Now maybe a little more for the light for the hair, finishing touches kind of stuff. And we'll have ourselves another lightning fast painting. Oh, the first name. Oh, okay. Even that, I haven't heard anyone with the first name. The same first name. That's a new one for me. But hopefully everyone enjoyed this painting. Faster paced than usual. But we left no details out. Remember, it's not about how photographic something looks, it's big picture. I think this is a big picture stronger than all the other ones from this week. Big picture wise. Again, the palette is a battlefield. There's all kinds of stuff going on this palette. It is a battlefield. Oh, thanks, Gigi. The palette is a battlefield, just like love is a battlefield, they say. But I must say, I am happy with this. It was tough. You know, I embraced the challenge. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't embrace it as much earlier on, but now I do. Oh yeah, we'll sign it. We'll sign it. I may make a print of this one as soon as today. I kind of want a print of this. Appreciate all the support, everybody. Thank you so much for the super chats, the Venmos, the likes. All the support is so meaningful. So thank you so much, everybody. Yep, another song reference. Definitely was a battlefield for the palette. There's a reason I'm not zooming in. It's because I want YouTube to lock this in as the thumbnail. Thanks, Howling Dog Design. Thank you. Challenge, everybody. The most difficult, I want to say this one was the most difficult painting of them all. In the entire series, this one was the most difficult. Absolutely the most difficult. Without a doubt, the most challenging. Honestly, if you gave me a week to paint this, it would still be quite a challenge. Okie dokie. Now, all that's left is to put a signature. We will put a signature right over here. Everything's messy here anyway, so it won't jump out too much. Thanks, Gigi. I meant more of the, well, the painting was a battlefield too, but the palette for sure is a mess. Now we drop a signature. Photograph it. Start making some prints. Of course, I gotta do my zoom before that. No construction sounds today, right? That was a good thing. Sign it right over here. Hopefully they're done with whatever they were doing. Okie dokie. Signature, very discreet, hidden on the bottom right of the painting. Last but not least, I don't like this line. Blur that a little bit. I didn't like that line. Okie dokie, there you go. That was the final touch. There is an outline there, but whatever. I'm going to leave it there. It's all good. Alrighty, so thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support, the likes, the subscriptions, the super chats, the Venmos, the comments. Thank you all so much. Remember, the schedule is 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Monday through Friday. I wish you all the very best, and I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everyone.